Did you ever have some sort of eureka moment when working directly with children?
Well, not that I can think of, honestly. But pretty sure this is my own kind of experience. So
Yes, for sure.
yes, I don't exclude that, but I think it's a very broad subject. I don't believe there's a particular or specific argument kind of I can literally delve into, to be fair,
right.
because it is something which builds upon each other. So yeah.
All right. So, reframing a bit the question, what was the greatest lesson that you've learned?
Yeah, everything again works in chains in reality. I think the individualism of children is something which is the root of each and everything, to be fair. So as I mentioned, having a child maybe come in with bad temper, or recognizing a very young child, since their speech maybe hasn't developed yet, you need to recognize what their needs are. Mm-hmm. So I do believe it is so individual that so many lessons can be learned throughout like 5 minutes being with children all the time. But then if I look at it from a more from an outer perspective, I think the joy from the simplest things.
Yes.
So that is something that children keeps you young and keeps you excited, because even, I don't know, if a ladybug happens to be in the yard, it's such a big thing that you tend to forget all these other surroundings that you have, and on such a simple moment, it becomes literally a special moment. So that is something which I think the biggest asset of working with children, for sure, that youthful energy. Yes, that is a big asset.
To me, when I was asking the question, that's the thing that came to mind: the gratitude and the appreciation of the simple things. You mentioned the ladybug example. It's a moment in time that for them it's the highlight of the day. Not to mention it's the week, for example. Because that, to me, that the same thing came to mind.
Yes. For sure. Even, for instance, you would have planned the most massive activity that could have been done, but something so simple. I don't know if my peer gave me shared with me a particular ball. The minute they go out to the parents, they just mention that little thing. So yes, they live in such a much more pure reality, and I think that is very fascinating, to be fair. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Might be a random question, but if you were to meet yourself 10 years ago, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give yourself?
I think that I would worry a bit less, because I am a person that I want to be always super well prepared, and with which, of course, it's good, yes. But it brings with it certain burdens that you tend to lose, what we just mentioned now. So the small moments which might you lose the appreciation because you're worried about things that you can't control. Mm-hmm. So what you can't control, you can't really worry about. So I would be a bit more present in that sense. Being well prepared, mind you, is something which I find is very important. But again, worrying about things which are out of your control, then that's a different thing. You can never be prepared enough for something you can't control or something. So I think I would just be well prepared where I can control
Yeah.
and be more present in different circumstances where I don't need to be worried about things which, again, I have no control on.
Mm-hmm. I think it's about finding the right balance. Everyone would have the right balance in this, but I don't think there's nothing necessarily wrong with being overly prepared. Albeit it's a bit anxiety-inducing,
Exactly.
and you might lose a little bit of the moment that you're living in, the present moment. But it's about, I think, being overly prepared, but embracing the fact that there is another realm which is the unexpected, and that it's real and that it will happen. And if it's not happening, there is something wrong as well, because that level of unexpectedness needs to be there.
Exactly.
Some people call it destiny, some people call it luck, some people call it causality. It has various names and connotations, but it has to be there. It's the spice of life in a way, and even in business creation, you might meet someone, you might plan to say something, and you might pitch something, and you come out of that meeting with something completely different. So you might have spent 1 week preparing for that particular meeting, then the meeting comes, it ends, and you are left there completely astonished with what came out.
Exactly.
Sometimes it works for the benefit, sometimes it works for the worse as well. Well,
Yes.
so
And I think that is also something that children teaches you.
mhm.
The level of spontaneity they have. It's like it brings with it a sense of positivity, and maybe they are much more less pensive. So yes, that lightness, I think it's important in life, especially when it comes to my role, for instance, being a mother. So that is where I came from. So I don't know if I'm worried about something, or I'm feeling that I have a lot on my plate, and I'm carrying that with me, and maybe missing out from particular moments where I could just enjoy or have a laugh with my own child. Then I think that is where I would try and calm and breathe more over there. But yes, it is a journey after all. Again, you keep on learning, so I'm pretty sure that even though we're nearly 10 years in, there's so much more to learn each and every time. But I do believe as well that prioritizing your instincts and gut feelings as well, because each and every time I was very passionate about an idea or a solution or a proposal, and I tend, if I'm hearing a different perspective, I might be on the wrong side, let me just let me be a bit passive about it. I always tend to regret that.
Yeah.
So that is something else which, when I feel very passionate about something, I try and explain my way, but try to get everyone on board to go for that, because usually would have picked that strong instinct from somewhere. So we tend to sometimes underestimate that. Yes.
What is the trigger, though, that you end up not following your gut feeling?
I think what we mentioned earlier is to make sure that everyone's being heard, to maybe have more space for the opposing ideas, to get them on board, etc. So I think that is where or maybe doubt comes in. So if you have an innovative idea and you read or you listen that usually it's not done that way, you might get doubts. I mean, decision making is all about trying to do the best decision that fits for that particular situation.
Yeah.
So if you tend to convince yourself otherwise because you read or you heard something different, you try and move away from that. But somehow I do believe that like instincts pick up at a faster pace than logic does, because you would have picked it up from in an unconscious manner, to be fair. So yes, that is something which I keep at the back of your mind.